I think you know what time it is. I don't think I gotta tell you what time it is. I think it's time to roll. Time to get it on and get started. Hi, I'm Joseph F. Price, Coach Joey P, and you are in the zone where we are going to take a look at becoming better people starting today and starting right now. So, I apologize. It's been a minute or two since I have been on the airways or been on the podcast ways, whichever you want to call it. But that's life. Sometimes we get busy, sometimes we do things, sometimes this happens. So, today I want to talk to you about something that, if you are pretty much, I don't really care what you are. But this is definitely a message for people that are addicted or practicing addiction. It's probably a message for everybody that they need to have a check in every now and then. And really, it's called Don't Hit the Easy Button. I don't mean to disrespect anyone, but there was a chain that one of their advertising slogans was to hit a button called the easy button. And basically, their chain was all about, I guess, making life easier for you. So it's this little red button. It's not like this mouse that I have, but it was a red button that was circular, and you just push it, and it mysteriously made your life uh, easy. But again, there is no easy button in the game of life, because life is the great equalizing experience, and life is the great balancing act. Everything in life, it has a way of balancing itself out. And if what I'm saying sounds like it's a different language, then stick around on this planet, and you'll see how much sense that makes. Everything balances itself. And so if you're having a struggle with addiction, it's because life's a balancing itself against you. And you've done some things, and you have the scales that are going against the the equilibrium of your life working purposefully. So we'll talk about some of the things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to easy. I think when it comes to easy, the first place that I would start is getting rid of easy, just totally ripping easy out of my vocabulary, because of the fact that easy, in so many senses, is not realistic, because life's hard. M. Scott Peck, Road Less Traveled, when he wrote that book, that was the first sentence of that book. Life is hard. So if life's hard and we want easy, we want something unrealistic. And so if life's hard and we want easy, then we're chasing after something that's phony and false. And so addiction is mostly about changing or chasing after false things. You're just contributing to your addictive process by chasing after easy, because easy doesn't exist. Now, don't get me wrong. I love that word simple. It seems like it's not that big of a difference from easy, but it is a. And so, what I mean, simple is when you leverage something, when you take the time to have a system and a strategy that saves time, that allows the process to become simplified and scaled. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're seeking easy, you're seeking something that doesn't exist, based on the premise. that life's hard. And if you're an addict, I'm only pausing because that's why you're where you are. I had to pause because I wanted to just take a moment to tell you that's why you are the way that you are and where you are if you're an addict, because you have been chasing the easy button, because the easy button is what addiction is all about. It's about chasing the easy button. Why are you going to chase the easy button? You're going to chase the easy button, one, because if you're addicted inherently, you have a low pain threshold, meaning your level of tolerance towards pain is lower. Now, that's it. When I first began to understand that, that was like an eye-opening experience, because a lot of times what you find is that when people end up a certain way, it's because they've done things that cause them to get there. And their life is structured to continuously do things to stay there. And that's one of the things about this whole sex addiction, pornography addiction, uh, recovery process, is that our behavior went on for a while unchecked. And so then one day we want to check it, and we think that we're going to figure out everything that's unchecked just by one check. And it's not going to work like that. You spent 12, 15, 20, 25 years creating a mess. And then you just want to take one glance, and then all of a sudden everything, it doesn't work like that. I got to tell you, it doesn't work like that. So, um, like I said, the first place to start is really just go ahead and trash the word easy. Put it in the same trash can as the word can't. Same trash can as I'm not enough. The same trash can as any form of doubt or anything like that. Just put it in the trash can. Don't use that word anymore. It's a curse word. Easy. Try. Maybe. Don't use words like that. Power words. I will. I can. I am. So the word easy's got to go. And again, fundamentally, if you want to change your life, one of the first places you can look is look at your language, because your language is going to speak in the direction that you're going. So if you don't like the direction you're going, all you have to do is listen to your language and alter it accordingly. I know that sounds simple, but that's really what it takes. Sometimes you need to hear the same thing over and over again so many times that you actually embrace it and then do something with it. So in a word, just get rid of the word easy, because it doesn't work for you. So I spoke of it a moment ago. I talked about pain threshold, and that's one of the reasons why you really need to be mindful of how many times, how many different ways that you press the easy button, because of the fact, if you have been engaged in any kind of addiction for any period of time, you inherently have a low pain threshold. And the addiction process in and of itself has actually pulled your pain threshold down, meaning that, it's really, 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 really uncomfortable for you to have just a little bit of pain. Okay. You go to the hospital, they talk about levels of pain. Is this a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a 10? All right. You've seen that. They got faces. All right. So in some people's lives, they can't take any more than a 2. All right. You don't know my story all the way. I had a compound fracture a few years ago. A compound fracture is when your leg snaps in half and you get to see what a bone looks like on the inside. So yeah, I had one of those, and then I have like 16 pins, in my leg and stuff like that. So I'm okay. But yeah, I have pain at the level of 10 and 8 on a daily basis. Fortunately, it's only for like a couple seconds or something like that. But as a result of that, my pain threshold has risen. And so when I go to the dentist and she wants to shoot that little, you know, needle in my mouth, like, duh. I mean, but that's an example of pain threshold rising. And most addicts is like the moment that something becomes a little bit uncomfortable, they don't want to do it anymore. And so that's one given area that you can reverse. One way that people do reverse that is they begin an exercise process of which they actually, challenge themselves to endure pain. Another way that people do that is they deliberately do things that they're not comfortable doing, and that helps expand it. One of the things that I do that I don't like is I take cold showers, and a lot of times I do that early in the morning, and it's because I don't want to do it, and it's because I don't want to do it that I do it, because that's the problem in the addiction process. We're looking for the easy button. We're looking to hit it as fast as we possibly can. So if you begin to start hitting the hard button on purpose, it makes it easier or simpler to deal with everyday life. I caught myself using that word easy, but it does make it simpler. And again, I got to touch on that thing that you might want to pay attention to as it plays out moment to moment, is that your threshold to pain is very low. So anything that you can do to begin to take a little bit more, take a little bit more, take a little bit more, because basically what happens is you've conditioned yourself over time to just run whenever you're confronted with a little bit of a challenge. And so let's start with the beginning of the day and how many people begin their day by hitting it. It's not called the easy button, but it's a form of the easy button. Because here's the deal. Just like easy doesn't really exist in real life, the easy button doesn't exist in real life. Okay. So people like to think that something is easy when there is no easy. I was looking at an interview a couple weeks ago. Mike Tyson was on Sean Hannity's show. And this is a tip that you can use for easy, and it's a tip you can use for what I'm going to talk about. And Mike Tyson said, Sean, I'm not wired like most people. And as Mike Tyson was saying, I'm not wired like most people, I'm saying, duh. So as Mike Tyson was explaining what he was actually talking about, he said, what most people do when fear is evoked in them is they run from it. He said, what I learned to do, because he's getting ready to have a fight pretty soon. He said, what I'm getting ready to do, I'm sorry. He said, what I do is when I fear something, I run right into it. So he does have fear about the fight that's coming up. And he loves the fact that he has that fear because it's that fear gives him power. And he's learned to convert things that he fears into power. Now, this is a sidebar. We came to talk about easy, but when I was listening to Mike Tyson say that, the light went off, like my whole room lit up, my whole office lit up. And the reason why it lit up is because my father told me, and my father's pretty wise on his own accord, without the books too. But he told me like the biggest enemy is going to be fear. And it really is the biggest enemy uh, of us always. It's always going to be our biggest enemy. And the funny thing is, most fears are not real. Most fears are made up. I know you've heard the acronym for fear, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. And the funny thing about fear is if you ever read about it, you'll find that human beings, they don't have except for 3 fears. All the other fears are self-created. The only fear that a baby has is being dropped, loud noises, and being abandoned. Those are your 3 inherent fears: being abandoned, being dropped, and loud noises. The rest of them are made up. And fear is there to protect you, to get you to run from lions and tigers. And we've allowed fear to be used in our everyday life. And we react the same way that we would if a tiger was coming at us. And the reason I say that is because fear is a primal response that activates the sympathetic nervous system. All right. So, one of the ways that you can deal with the easy button is, again, exercise, because that's going to put you into uncomfortable zones, give you a little bit of pain that you're not used to experiencing. And as you continue to do that, you'll be able to experience pain in other areas as well. One of the first things that I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that I would caution you about doing is using the snooze alarm. And the reason that I'm not a fan of the snooze alarm is because that is you making a decision and basically hitting the easy button before your day even began. Before your day even began, you decided that you wanted to be a slacker. That's what happens when you hit the easy button. It's pretty interesting. Before the day even began, you hitting the easy button. And you're saying, "Hey world, everybody else, I'm a slacker. And me too, most importantly, me." That's the message every time you hit the snooze button. "Hey Joe, I'm a slacker. Hey world, I'm a slacker. Hey everybody, I'm a slacker." So I would caution you about hitting the snooze button. Come up with a new technique. Have the music slowly rise or something. Don't hit the snooze button. Do something. It's a bad decision. First thing in the morning. All right. So what else I got here? Well, how many different ways do we hit the easy button? How many ways do you hit the easy button? That's most importantly. Do you and how do you hit the easy button? Because like the easy button that's in the store, it's a big red button. So it's obvious when you hit that button. But how do you hit the easy button? It's different for everybody. How do you hit the easy button? Is it that you lie to people to get out of a tough situation when you can confront the truth? Do you hit the easy button by making up excuses every time you decide that you want to slack? Because the easy button is like a slacker button. I think maybe people don't like the word slacker. It kind of inflames the emotions. So maybe you might like the slacker button. Don't hit the slacker. Maybe that word will motivate you a little bit more. Do you hit the easy button when it comes to learning? Funny thing is in today's world with the technology, you can learn anything that you want to. You can learn it kind of faster if you're willing to pay for it. But, if you're not willing to pay for it, that's fine too. If you direct yourself the right way, you can pretty much learn anything. If you don't want to pay for it, you're going to have to work a little bit harder. It's just how it is. But in today's world, you can learn anything. So the business and the idea of trying to figure it out and find out and learn it on your own, that's not necessary for a lot of things. And especially it's not necessary dealing with an addiction that's as confusing as sex addiction. It's just not something that you're going to figure out on your own by yourself. What else? Some people, they need to stop hitting the easy button when it comes to the remote control on their TV and hit the button called a book in their hand. It's going to make a difference in their life. I think I hit the easy button on this particular podcast, quite frankly, just in full disclosure. I actually did the notes on this like 6 or 7 weeks ago and kind of got lazy, I guess. Let me just keep it real. And didn't do it and forgot some of the stuff that I wanted to say and find myself a little bit confused because I hit the easy button. Sometimes we hit the easy button when our anger gets the best of us. Now remember, life is this journey really of personal self discovery and reflection and modification to mastery. That's what it really is. So that means that you're not going to do stuff right all the time the first time. And you're going to learn from your mistakes. And then you're going to modify until you get that sense of mastery. I don't believe in perfection. I do believe in mastery. Mastery comes from continuously working at something to get better. And that's mastery doesn't come by hitting the easy button. And it's through mastery of yourself that sexual addiction would never even exist. And it's mastery of areas that you haven't mastered that allows you to alleviate your problems. And the only way that you get mastery in anything is through continuous practice. You have to do it not so well the first time in order for it to get better and better and better. And I think a lot of the easy button is that we don't want to endure the pain. As I said, addicts have a low pain threshold. And I think what it is we just think about the pain and we don't associate that the pain endured is part of the price for the victory. So many things have to go wrong in life in order for something to go right. That makes no sense at all. So many things have to go wrong in order for something to go right. And that's how mastery happens. So in other words, for an idea is like Babe Ruth, who was one of the greatest hitters. The only way he got to be one of the greatest hitters is by striking out a bunch of times. I think he struck out over 1,600 times. So that's why there's no such thing as failure anyway. Failure is just you succeeded at getting a result that you didn't intend, but you succeeded at getting a result. And we call that a failure. You succeeded at getting a result. If you can get a result you don't like, you can get a result that you do. The way you get a result that you do like is probably by modifying whatever it was you did to get the result you didn't like. And in some cases, it's really just the exact opposite. But if you were to think that works in all cases, that would be hitting the easy button. And it doesn't work that way. It is not an exact science to reverse, because the thing is that sometimes you got good stuff in the mix of bad stuff that creates bad stuff. So you don't want to get rid of all the good stuff just to get rid of some bad stuff. You get rid of some bad stuff and you keep the good stuff, and then you get rid of the big bad stuff, and then you get a little confused, and then you turn it off maybe. All right. So yeah, you're hitting the easy button in your life if you don't have an accountability partner. Iron sharpens iron. Men make men stronger. If you don't have somebody in your life in the various areas that you want to grow in, you're pretty much doomed for failure, because you're not getting the kind of support and exposure that you need to get to where it is that you want to go to. So that's why it's important to have people in your life that are straight up your accountability partners. This is where I am with this, so you're actually being accountable. One of the things about accountability partners is not necessarily just you being accountable to somebody else. But one of the nice things that accountability partners help you do is to become accountable to yourself. Because what you can do is you can delude yourself and you can throw a bunch of cognitive distortions your way and you can't even see it. But accountability partners can help you see your own self just by talking to them. And it's the reverse of what living in addiction is anyway, because living in addiction is hiding in a corner or a closet somewhere, not really talking to anybody. Oh yeah, you might be throwing words, but you're not really talking. You're not really connecting with people. That's what addiction is about. All that kind of stuff of that nature. Um, you know, comfort. Having that word like matter in the biggest way all the time is hitting the easy button. Comfort. I know you've heard about the comfort zone. And if you could, in your mind, just draw a lane, imagine a rectangle and imagine like a lane going right through the middle of it. And that's your comfort zone, that lane. And that's all nice. That's your easy button area. And that's where you live, in that comfort zone. But you see, whatever you got right now, whatever it is right now, whatever you're experiencing right now, whatever your issues are right now, whatever it is you don't like, it lives there too. So everything that you don't, everything you want, everything that's different from what you don't like, It lives outside in that comfort zone. So when you do stuff that's outside of your easy, that stuff shows up. And the nice thing about a comfort, that lane that I was saying, is every time you step out of that lane, the lane gets bigger. Kind of shrinks a little bit on you in time if you don't keep stretching it, but it actually does get bigger. And so mastery is about continuously stretching that lane deliberately by not hitting the easy button. So therefore, it wouldn't even matter how fast that you were making progress. As long as you were making progress deliberately without hitting the easy button, as long as you're doing that, you're going to get anywhere that you intend to get. But if you're looking for perfect, if you're looking to have mastery without earning it, you're going to have disappointment. And I think that's what bothers a lot of people in the addiction recovery process, is that they want mastery without earning mastery. They want mastery over themselves after not having mastery for 12 to 25 years. They want it immediately, like a button you're going to hit. There's no button for that. And that's why I'm saying, like, get rid of the easy button. Like, we have to wire ourselves almost like Mike Tyson, in the sense of being the opposite of everybody else, where embrace hard. You want to embrace hard. And the reason why you want to embrace hard, because you know it's the victory is there. You know that you begin to learn that, again, life is the great math game. And so if you work hard at something, you get a result. Now, the one thing about math and work math is that if you leverage your work actually becomes more than it was originally. So what I'm saying is, be efficient. Hard work in and of itself is not going to get it done. If you're going to work hard and work dumb, that doesn't matter. It don't matter how hard you work. It's not going to get it done. If you work hard and you work smart and you learn and you have that sense of mastery, it doesn't matter what it is, you'll get there. If you learn to be efficient, you'll get there faster. So anybody that's really trying to teach you to grow, to really to get that sense of true recovery, they're not looking for you to have it all in one day. That's something you want. It's important that you have progress every day. And see, progress is just handling a bad day with dignity. That could be progress if you don't handle those type of days that way normally. You know, sometimes one way that people hit the easy button is that they think that the past somehow equals the future. The past doesn't equal the future. It doesn't. Like, you might have tried something yesterday, but today you have more knowledge. Today you know why it didn't work yesterday. So today you actually have a little bit more leverage over the situation. But when you think the past equals the future, why should I try? Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah. 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 then some kind of phrase that has it in it. I think you know what that phrase is. No. When you get a challenge, you get a challenge and go for it. Start embracing the hard, knowing that the hard is going to get you there. And then once you embrace the hard, then take the hard and turn that into efficient. But if you run from every little challenge, which is how we have been wired, you're never ever going to get the changes that you want. Most people don't even set goals. I know that. 30 something years as a life coach. 3% of the population set goals. So you don't even have little goals of how you're going to grow, what it is that you can do. You don't even have steps that you're trying to attain in your recovery if you're not on a recovery program. And the reason I brought up goals is because goals are like a magnet that pull you towards it. When you set a goal, you get pulled towards it. You can look this word up if you haven't heard it. Reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system gets activated once you set a goal, and it starts seeking how can you manifest that. So if you're looking to become healthy, then that has to be your goal, to become healthy. Many people that are sitting here that do porn. Oh, I want to be porn free. Well, your brain heard that word porn in what you want. It's the easy button without you even knowing it. I'll just give him porn. He said something about porn. I'll just go ahead and give it to him. That's how your brain is. So when you decide that you want to be healthy and that you want to be consistent with the person that you decided that you wanted to be, I don't know what it is. But I do know that behavior is really not consistent with who you want to be. And so when that's who you decide you want to be, really like be, not say, then you will do the things to become that person. And part of that will be removing unwanted sexual behavior. You'll remove it because it doesn't work for you anymore. But you got to go out and seek. You got to go out and seek the resources some kind of way continuously. Because what happens is people, in their hitting the easy button, they're like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm able. And you are. And you can do it. There's no question about that. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, you can. But the doubt is that you don't have the strategy and you don't have the system. Something that saves you time, energy, and money. System. Something that saves you time, energy, and money. Isn't that neat how that's an acronym? Something that saves you time, energy, and money. So if you don't have a system, then you're going to go around and around and around and around and around in circles. So whatever that system is, you have to have the system. And you have to work the system every day. And all you're looking for is a little bit of progress. You may have a situation where you have a greater sense of urgency because of the fact that you've been lying like for a long, long time and people are tired of it. So you might need to work a little bit harder. So you may not have as much time as somebody else. But most people progress over perfection. And if you don't have as much time as many people, then just understand the reason why you don't have as much time as many people and make up for it. You don't have as much time because you've been lying so long and you've been doing what you've been doing to the extent, and that's why you don't have much time. So in your case, you really do need to step it up and work on perfection. But nonetheless, progress over perfection. And I'm gonna have to get a rubber band and pop my arm because I use one of those bad words. I use that bad word called perfection when the word's mastery. And that's not sadistic, but it's just a simple behavior modification device. Your language is that important that, yeah, you might have slipped this time or that time, but yeah, I guarantee you that you have language patterns that are consistent with your behavior patterns. You may not know them, but I guarantee you, guarantee you, as crazy as this may sound, there's probably about 200 words that if we shifted in your vocabulary, I mean, like really shifted to where you don't use them, to where you thought that those words were cuss words, words that you use like every day. Yeah, it's probably only about 200. I guarantee you one of them's easy. Try's got to get out of there too. Can't's got to get out of there. But anyway, somewhere about 200, you can remove them. And if you remove them, uh, that will eventually change your life. Because what will happen is that you'll start to do different things. And then doing the different things will change your life. It's always going to come down to doing different things. It's not going to ever be like magically happen. It's always going to come down to you doing different things. And so the process for you always is, what is it going to take to get you to do what it is that you need to do? And some of it is what I discussed. To do a little bit of the hard and leave the easy button alone, and then you'll find that hard becomes easy. Because again, if I was trying to do like 2 push-ups today, and I haven't done push-ups forever, and then I try to do more tomorrow, I could probably do more tomorrow, and more the next day, and more the next day, and more the next day. And if that was like my goal to increase constantly, I mean, you could come back next year and I would be at the 200, where 200 would be a lot right now. But that's what happens. That's an example in the body. The mind works similar. That's what happens when you keep stretching yourself and working yourself to do more. What used to be hard becomes easy. It used to be hard for you to drive. It used to be hard for you to type. So many of the things that used to be hard to do. I think it used to be hard, for me to talk on a podcast. It used to be hard. It used to be hard to get on the phone and ask for something. It used to be hard. Some people are shy, so that's why it used to be hard. Some people, this is like kind of not really about addiction, but I got to go there because I'm really all about quality of life. Unfortunately, some people hit the easy button when it comes to racism, sadly. And the only thing I'm going to say is that's really goofy, just racism, period. That you're actually going to treat somebody some kind of way because the God above decided to make that person the way he decided to make that person. So therefore, you feel that you're that important to think of that person less because of the way that God chose to make them. I don't know. It's what people are doing. And it's easy to do that. And the reason why it's easy to do that is because somebody taught you that it's okay to embrace something called racism. And you got to hit the not easy button to get how silly that is, of any sort, of any kind. And again, that person who you want to be a racist to, he may be in whatever group, but the likelihood of him ever had did something to you is probably very slim. And to have an attitude and an animosity to somebody that you never met because of the way God chose to make them is ridiculous. And it's a vent. It's a vessel to vent your brokenness. That's basically in this sexual addiction. It's a vessel to vent your brokenness. That's all I gotta say about that. Please love God and love people. I think the final thing that I did want to say about the easy button is that people have their own version of the easy button. So you got to look into at your own self, and how is it that you hit the easy button? And maybe if you can hit the easy button one less time today, what would happen? What would happen if you hit it 10 less times? There was a there's all kinds of things that you could do in your life to really radically radically change your life, radically. One of them is doing one thing hard every day that you don't like. I mean, if you deliberately did one thing hard every day, where would your life end up? Where would your life end up you know, if you prayed every day before you started? Where would your life end up if you exercised every day before you started? Where would your life end up if you forgave everybody at the end of the day? Where would your life end up if you went to church every Sunday? Where would your life end up if you stopped lying half as much as you lie now? Just half. I didn't say stop lying. I just said stop lying half as much. There's so many like one habit wonders. And that works against you as well. Where did your life end up because you decided one day to look at something called pornography? And so now you have a chance to change. Now you have a chance to do something different than to hit the easy button. I hope that somewhere along the line there was something that I said that made a difference, that mattered, that counted for you. I hope you remember the next time you want to take the easy way out that the threshold for pain is very low in people that are addicted, and that you will remind yourself to take a little bit more pain on purpose so that you can become better. Like or subscribe to the channel. I'm a little low on subscribers, quite frankly. So if you can help us that way, that would be good. I'll try to do something once a week. Where's my rubber band at? See, I use that word try. Ah! Okay. I promise you for the rest of the year, I'll do something once every 10 days. Ooh, I put myself out there. But nah, Joey P slick, man. I'll go into my library and pull out on you. But yeah, I promise you that I will do that. And I hope you saw what I just did, because I went from trying to do something to, an actual commitment, and then I figured out how I'm gonna make sure that a commitment happens, even this is between you and I, even if I hit the easy button called go into my library. I mean, I'm being fair, like, I keep it real the way I want you to keep it real. So until next time, God bless each and every one of you. Drive with care, walk with caution, connect with somebody. The opposite of addiction is connection. We'll see you next time. Do something great. Make the day and the rest of your life your living masterpiece. Yeah, buddy. Juma I King. Yeah, that's Juma I King, by the way. He was so nice a long time ago when I started this podcast to let us use that music. So appreciate you, Juma. Juma. His last name is Iking.